Hello and welcome to Tykes Tv. Got Dan on. Dan, appreciate you joining me, mate. I know busy work schedule and that. Going to be a bit of a two-in-one show. This looking at the Portsmouth game and obviously coming up as a game against Northampton. Just going to give a shout out as well because I know it's been put by Sheffield United about Maddie Cusack as well, a young lass at women's game, tragically passed away. So I know there's been a lot of stuff on social media about that. And again, football communities all come together, and it's nice to see even Sheffield Wednesday, coming out with statements and rivalries aside. You don't want to see any young player, youngster, under unfortunate circumstances lose their life, Dan. So yeah, it kind of puts football in perspective again, doesn't it, mate?
Of course. And yeah, I, in all honesty, Neil, I saw it through Ollie McBurney's Instagram page, and I read a bit about it. It's just tragic. It's awful.
Yeah.
Such a young player that's lost a life, but
yes.
It's good to see all football communities come together, like you say, and obviously thoughts with your family and the closest friends.
Yeah, echo that. So on to the Tuesday night game. I mean, God, 2-0 down after 8 minutes. It looked like it was going to be a rout. At half time, to Dan even got me app up and seen percentage, and Portsmouth having like 68% of possession at first half. I was at home, but I don't know what happened, mate. We just stood off them. We gave them time, weren't pressing. It was a culmination of things, gaps again happening. What were your take on it, Dan?
I walked away from that game completely just disappointed. Really disappointed, deflated with it. I think there were a lot of fans getting caught up in the kind of second half thinking, that, they showed a little bit of spirit, they showed spirit to try and get it back and try and anything. I mean, I don't see that. I don't get caught up in that sort of romance. It's a 90-minute game, for Christ's sake. If you play good for 45, you get that, basically.
Yeah.
And I've got to give credit to Portsmouth. They're an incredibly well-drilled side. We knew what they were going to play. They were like a unit. But I think what's most disturbing is that when I saw them set up in first half, that's how we were playing last season.
Yeah.
And it were like, what's happened? What's happened with pressing? What's happened with us pressing front? What about us sitting off? I mean, the fact that Portsmouth had more possession than us, I wouldn't have been particularly that bothered. But it was the way that just
it happened.
Yeah, they just cut through us, and they were all like, they were standing off, and we looked incredibly. We have looked every time we've played a good side. I'll get onto that in a minute, but every time we've played a side like that, we've just looked so vulnerable at back. Just going on to we've played Peterborough now, who were a promotion contender at start of season, lost to them at Oakwell. Played Portsmouth, lost to them at Oakwell. The only one we've played that's been, I won't call them a promotion contender, but I'd say they're a decent side, were Wigan, and we beat them away from home. Yeah. It's not good enough. And I remember being on here when I first started coming on here last season, as you know, and I was talking to you then when it came to November time, and I said, reason why we are where we are is because we're not beating those top 6 teams, and we're saying exactly the same now. You can look towards us gelling as a side. I get that argument. But where were your senior players? Your Caddens, your Phillips, your Kanes, don't know where to be seen. They're just absent for that first half. They might have improved Cadden got taken off, didn't he? It might have improved Phillips and Kane improved in second half, but we just need to learn how to play against big teams, and at the moment we're really failing at that. Lopeter were I'm starting to get serious doubts about Lopeter. Nah, he's every time he's come up, it's all right defending against, and this is no disrespect to either side, 2 sides that I'm about to mention, but we know that they're gonna be in a relegation scrap. It's all right when you're trying to defend against Cheltenham, Burton, who haven't got that massive attacking threat. But every time Colby Bishop went forward, Lopeter was just left dead.
Yeah.
Absolutely left dead. So there's just some serious doubts going on, and it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah, I saw some things on social media as well about at the back we're lacking on pace, and now surprised me that it got changed. If I'm being honest, by leaving Shepherd out week, week, and it carried on about the same frame. And again, I don't think I thought Shepherd were growing into it. And again, there's a lot of possibilities to be able to get onto the amount of players in certain areas that we've got. We're moving on to strikers in a minute. And again, you look at the defensive lineup like now, it seems to be that we've got an abundance of defenders in personnel wise, but I don't think if I don't mean disrespectful, we kind of find a settled, I don't know, back three. He switched it in formation. He went 4 at back, and I think we looked a bit better for that. But I don't think he really had an option because we kept getting Fan Art in back left back area all the time. Portsmouth were doing a job. It's like what you said earlier on. We were doing that last season. This season, we just seem to be content and sitting off, soaking it up and hoping to break on the counter, and it won't happening because some people pressing down. When we were getting ball, we're losing it too easy in possession. And then we're back on sit back. Frustration in fans, you could tell. We're actually screaming, shout, go, close, press. When on occasion it did happen, you could see they wanted to get shut then, but we didn't do it often enough. And come second half, I wasn't surprised if he made a triple sub, if I'm being honest. And I get where you're coming from. It's over a 90-minute game. I thought we'd played better in the second half, but I don't think we could have got any worse, to be fair, Dan.
No, I agree. It couldn't have got any worse. Well, it could have done. There could have been 5-0 up for every time, which would have been really achievable.
Yeah.
With the way that they were playing and things. I mean, it's not just the way that we defended. It's not just the way we defended. I think it was the way that we attacked in first half as well. We've got this thing, and many people are going to disagree with me because I keep banging this drum. And people go, what are you on about? Why do you want to play like that? We didn't try and, I know we sang it, but we didn't try and play like Brazil in last season. I don't say it particularly, I hate this phrase, but sexy football. We weren't trying to get it. We were bolting it forward and let Norwood or one of midfielders try and win that first header. And then we'd try, and then that'd set us, and by that stage, we've all pressed forward, while ball's gone forward, and we're anticipating that ball. That's exactly how Portsmouth were playing.
Yeah.
We're just trying to find gaps in between back line. And we're not doing that. We're trying to, in that first half, we're trying to play hard. It's played out from back, fair enough. We're doing that last season. Play it into midfield, but they're already prepared for you to do that.
Yeah.
And then you've got Russell, and well, he's starting to wear my patience a little bit.
We'll come on to that a bit later, actually, because we'll get on about the lineup for Northampton.
One thing I do feel a little bit sorry for Russell for is that when we were playing, like, if you can play that with Luke O'Connell, fine. And probably very achievable for Luke O'Connell to play that way. You get that to John Russell. John Russell's an old-fashioned defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
He's the one where ball goes forward and he runs back and he works in sort of an half-back role. He don't know how to string
different, isn't it? Yeah.
String passes out. He's not Busquets, you know what I mean? It's like a bloody, he's a big lad, and he hasn't got that turn of pace. And I don't understand why this big transition into where we've played. To be honest, Neil, I don't understand it.
No,
we've been sitting here chatting, haven't we, on numerous occasions about Port Vale, about Cheltenham in a certain extent. We played them. It's like we're getting caught out at wings too much.
Yeah. Bristol Rovers, another one.
Bristol Rovers,
yeah.
Getting caught out at wings, and it's like, and that is showing no signs of improving. And then you've got a young player like Lopetar who's still learning his trade at this level, and you're putting so much pressure on him where he literally can't cope. And one ball goes in, and I remember one at second half with Colby Bishop. The ball came in, Lopetar's gone back, but by that stage, Colby Bishop, no disrespect to him, he's a good centre forward. He's got that yard behind him.
Yeah.
And then Roberts is having to sweep it up, make a good save. So I think it's a little bit. It's starting to get to the stage in season where it's a little bit worrying because we don't know who his best 11 is, and we don't know how we're playing. I think it's a bit chop and change exercise, and I think it's getting a little bit concerned. I won't say it's enough to throw maybe out with bathwater, but it's getting a little bit concerning now, I think.
Yeah. I mean, people say, oh, yeah, but we're 16th league, and yeah, I get that. But you can throw a net over from Portsmouth on 16 points down to Derby in 12th on 10 points. A couple of wins and you up there and down there. We're on 13 at the minute. But also, there's a Bolton, Peterborough, Wickham, also on 13 points. And in 10th place, Lincoln City on 12. So again, I get where you're coming from. People will be saying, oh, yeah, but we're 6 winning playoffs. But look at bigger picture. Look how close it is. It's very far taking. Someone can go on a decent run and get something together. I'm not saying, Portsmouth, prime example, they won last night and they've gone straight to number 1. But, you're looking at Bolton in 7th spot. They're only behind us on goal difference. They're on 13 points, same as us. And we all know what Bolton could do under Ian Evatt. It's more or less been via a couple of seasons. He knows what the style of play. And I get where you're coming from is that at minute, we're still going through, we're in a fine position. But you look what you've just said there. Potentially, you've got players coming back. We don't really know who his back three is, his defensive unit. We made changes. We went to a 4 in second half. It kind of got some goals back. But again, we were on about it, off air about his striking partner about Northampton. But before we get to that, I come to you about this, Dan, and we were on about it off air, actually, is that two strikers have gone out on loan. Devante Cole's been rumoured to be linked to Middlesbrough, which you could see happening. If he carries on being the form that he is doing, everybody's wanting a striker in double figures. But I mean, Marsh going out to York on a 1 month loan. And most wanted man in Barnsley, Zek had gone out to Israeli League. I mean, I was surprised, if I'm being honest, about Marsh going out to York, considering what he's done in last, he's come off at the bench, made a difference. I was surprised with that, but like what we've said earlier, and I'll let you elaborate on this, reason why probably Watters is starting in front of Marsh, Dan.
I think it has something to do with that the players that they sign, we know that our approach as a team is looking at players as if they are assets to the team. And they are. It's true. They are. And I don't disagree with that. To put into context, last season, we made £14 million. We've made £6 million this transfer window. So that's 50% of our entire gross revenue has gone on players, has been returned through two signings, 2 players leaving. So I get that completely. However, the issue is, I think, with the role is that we are going to sign players who we can see potential in. And to be honest, the potential what we can see in the players we've signed, I agree. Okay, they're not the end product, far from it, but I think you can see different attributes on how those players can be good. So, but when you sign Max Waters, they're going to, I fear, and I hope we don't go down this road completely, is that they are going to look at giving Max Waters game time off at bench, so he can develop into the player that he can, and then we can sell him on. Now, you could argue the same for Aidan Marsh, but they said, well, okay, he come through as an academy, and we could sell him on for more money, and he hadn't really cost us out, and things like that. There is an argument for that, but me personally, from what I've seen from Aidan Marsh and what I've seen from Max Waters, I mean, performances kind of speak for themselves, really. He hasn't convinced me as Waters so far. Not saying that he won't in this coming season, but it's.
I mean, you look at Marsh.
He doesn't set out the agenda. He does not set out the agenda very well. for we one in last meeting they had when Collins, Nariv, Khalid, Julie were there and all that. He said that we really like Aidan Marsh. We really want to provide a route from the academy or under 18s or reserves up to first team. I don't think this is setting the right precedent.
No.
I just don't, unfortunately.
No. I mean, for Marsh, I like him as a player. I think he understands what it means to club, being a local lad. And again, he's come off at bench and he's been rightly awarded, been allowed in the 15 squad with his performances in the cup game, scoring. The under 23s, getting bagging goals and that. So again, someone who's on form, who seems to be on a buzz, whether this month-long deal at York, it benefits him in some way or other. I hope it does, and I hope it comes back. And it's like, but again, if it does well there, would York want to extend it? Well, probably January. And I think club would say, yeah, we'll allow that. It happened with Herbie Kane a couple of seasons ago when he were at Oxford. And again, you look at the options we've got out at the minute. Like I said, Leerdeke is gone, is forgot about. But you've still got Andy Dallas and Ollie Shaw, who, again, another two strikers having long spell up in Scotland. So we seem to be like overloaded in certain areas. And I get where you're coming from, because we paid a bit of money out, although it was undisclosed for Max Watters. It seems to be that we need to gain some game time, get him some minutes, gain some goals, and all being well, we've got a bit of an investment there, like we have done. With Sam Cosgrove, we've got Devante Cole, we've got McAtee. It seems to be that we've got quite a few players in there now, and it's trying to keep them all happy. But unfortunately, there's only 2 spots up for grabs, and it seems to be one of them where if I'm being honest, I could see Ollie Shaw probably going me. If I'm being honest, I could see Ollie Shaw going. And it pains me to say it, but Marsh got a 1-year extension. Is that contract at the end of this year? It pains me to say it, this, but I could see Marsh moving on if another club came in, because I could see Marsh for player his sen getting frustrated and not being had an opportunity at Barnsley to knock on it for his team down. Just like he was saying there, is that the board, when we're sat there, yeah, we love him as a player, and I'm thinking, send him out on loan again is not really sitting well, kind of thing.
No, it's not. Now, I have to try and be balanced. We don't see all training reports. We don't see fitness.
True.
We don't see, and I get that. I get it completely.
Yeah.
But I'm looking, and I do look at, like obviously you chat away about other clubs when we talk and things, and I think that one of the best clubs, best run clubs, is definitely like kind of Brighton, like one of Brighton, Brentford, them sorts of clubs. And the reason why they do, the reason why I think they are, is because not just because of the way that they identify undervalued players using kind of like a data approach. It's because of the way that they utilize their academy system. These lads, they're no pushovers. They've won competitions when they're at youth level.
Yeah.
And I think it's a stain on the entire English football system that we do not utilize young players. And I think that giving Aidan Marsh a decent chance that we've got is important. But also, I mean, me and you are both big fans of this player playing here, Joe Ackroyd.
Yeah, I love him as a player.
I'm looking at that, and if it's Russell, Connell, and Ackroyd, I honestly think Joe Ackroyd could be a really top player.
Yeah.
I'm not talking. I don't know enough about to beat the Premier League, but it could be a really good player for us because he's a tough tackler. He likes getting into. He's quick, got a decent turn of pace. Likes playing the ball. Likes playing long ball out at back and playing it onto and switching it. I think he'll be brilliant. And if I were like Aidan Matt, if I were looking at this as a young player and thinking, well, Aidan Marsh has gone out alone. He's had 2 appearances off at bench this season. What chance have I got?
Yeah.
You know, and it's just not setting that precedent out there. It's not setting a good precedent, sorry. And I think, yeah, it's disappointing because I think with what CEO and what Khalid said about club, he said we want to be forward thinking. Well, in some aspects, you're trying to do that, but in other aspects, you're not. You know, the famous word, judges by our actions. Well, we're judging, you know, what you expect us to do then. It's, you know, it's disappointing. It's disappointing. I wish we'd do better.
Yeah.
I hope we do in future as well.
Yeah, true. I mean, got young Phil Chapman. He looked a decent player when he's made
Brilliant. Yeah.
Another good. And Matty Wolf, again, all being well, comes back from his injury. So we've got players there. It's just like what you said, Via, judges by his actions. Let's see these kind of players. Don't let them miss an opportunity where an Ackroyd can come through, a Chapman can come through. I'm not saying he's going to be a first teamer all the time, but at least give him experience. And like what you said, Via, playing around better players, such as like Luke O'Connell, a Russell, you know, players around you in that ilk, you're going to knock on effect. On about, you know, players who we're going to, you know, coming on to the Northampton game. So again, we were on about this as well. Changes to be made. Yeah, I think there will be changes made. Definitely changes be made. And again, against Northampton, no disrespect to Northampton, it's going to be a tough test, this, for Barnsley away, going to Northampton. Not only a changing players, Dan, but considering what happened in the second half against Portsmouth, would you say, and this might be a bit controversial, be interested to see how comments of this, would you say be a change in formation as well? Would you think he's going to go forward at back like his second half? Or is he going to go back to the 3 and think, yeah, we'll see where we're going now? What's your take?
I think that we will probably remain in a similar sort of formation. I think that's the key, but it's the way that we utilise the 3 in the middle that's going to be. So he's going to it's either going to be you're going to try and use an attacking midfielder or put a drop of defense out of a bit of a defensive midfielder. It's the way that we approach games, Neil. In my opinion, I don't think it's the formation we do. We played it all last season. We realised how versatile it was. The only time it wasn't really versatile was when we were 0 down and we didn't quite manage to get enough about us to try and go and chase the win when we equalised. So that was the only downside to it. But I think it's the way that we're approaching games at the moment. Like I said to you earlier on, we're trying to pass it, we're trying to play it out. And I think that, and in all honesty, I think that's Collins. I think that's his way he wants to play football. Yeah. But I think sometimes, you know, if you look at the games that we had, the teams played against us, they had more possession. And a lot of people walked away from that game thinking, well, did we get a bit lucky there? Well, not really, because they didn't really have any clear-cut chances. Roberts has had to save us out of the rubbish more times than all this season. So I think use this game to try and use that defensive midfielder. Sit back a little bit. Don't sit back too much. Try and press in midfield a little bit. But just regroup when they go forward. And we can use this as a game to practice them regrouping when they go forward. Because then what we can do is minimise those chances of goal, let Lepata get a bit more comfortable, let him be clearing balls out, let him do, and that back 3 feel a lot more supported.
Yeah.
So, but it's going to be, I mean, talking about the game, it is going to be tough and it's going to be, one of the reasons it's going to be tough is because we've just been absolutely battered on Tuesday and we've been probably dropped back down to earth again. So they're going to need to get the confidence back. So I think there is going to be some big changes. If I'm honest, Collins did not look happy in that dugout at 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think this game as well, I think it's probably a test for Collins to see reaction at players and all. Like we said there, yeah.
Which last season under Duff, I've got to admit, when we did lose, we came back and we next game we probably won.
Yeah.
or got a good draw away from home. So that's, you know, that's probably what we wanted to see again. But we'll see. We'll see what's. I still reckon that they've got enough about them to try and go and get 3 points. Northampton are a good side, and I think they've still got that buzz from going up, and they'll want to take on the teams that's predicted to be near the top of the division. And you know, I reckon, you know, it's going to be a tough game, but can we do it? Of course we can. I think so, definitely.
Big game as well. What all players would you come in? You know, for personnel wise, would you make any change? We said, didn't we? I'd go for Cosgrove starting along Devante up front, and I don't know about Styles getting him a run because in second half, you know, it made a difference when he came on. But again, he was playing more light on left. Would you have Styles instead of Phillips, just be sitting behind him? I don't know, but I'd go with kind of them changes at back.
I would probably go. I'd go Cosgrove for McAtee, Styles for Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Let him just steady ship. He's quite an experienced player. I think we forget how experienced he is, actually, Styles. Let him just organise midfield a little bit. Let him calm defence down. Not going to go down well with many people. This Cotter, we got O'Keefe for Cotter.
Yeah, I'd go for that. Yeah, I thought O'Keefe. Yeah, good shout. But I thought he did well when he come on. Yeah.
And there's the one guy we didn't really mention, which is the left back from Burnley, who did very well when he came on.
Yeah. True.
Is it worth? I think that might be a big. That might be a bit throwing baby out with bathwater slightly if you drop Cadden, but I don't know. Listen. The thing is, sometimes you need to, as a manager, and as a manager, I'm like speaking like I'm a manager then, but as a manager, you're having to say, listen, we're here to help you, but I'm not tolerating them performances. If you've got to set your stalls out and say, I'm not accepting that. You drop next game, and I'm going to give someone else a chance, and then you're going to have to. And then you're going to have to prove to me when you're good enough, you're playing well enough to get back in team, and I can rely on you.
Fair point.
So maybe we might see some massive changes. And if I'm honest, my respect for him will go up if I see that from Collins. So
yeah, fair play.
We'll see.
Yeah, and a good shout that as well, because you know, at the end of the day, we all look at results, and manager always gets chalked at the end of the day. You know, manager will be judged, and he made a back call in second half to change formation. He could have gone pear-shaped, but for credit to him, he changed it. He brought 3 subs on. So he knew, and you could tell, like you said, you could tell he was nowhere far from happy, even in his interviews. In fact, you could tell the frustration there. I'm thinking, it may be that, you know, come Tuesday night, it won't performance we're looking for. This is the standard I'm expecting. Unfortunately, you're on bench. And it's like, whoa. And it might be sometimes, and I don't think it's a bad thing, sometimes you can take that player out of comfort zone thinking, it's going to be, and it's like, whoa, hold on a minute. This gaffer's not going to accept a substandard performance. It's going to be, if you don't be on your game, you're going to be on bench. And I think that's what it's needed. So fair shout to you, Dan, mate. But and I think a lot of fans will appreciate that as well, thinking, do you know what? Going to manager here who was going to be actually call it and say, look, just because you've had an off game, you're back in again. You're going to make that call. It's like, we'll get behind you. Score prediction, man, mate.
Ooh.
I'm going 2-1 Barnsley. If I'm being honest.
I'm gonna reckon it's gonna be a bit more a tighter game. I reckon 1-0 Barnsley. 1-0.
Both Barnsley wins. That's all we're bothered about anyway.
Yeah.
So we're both going for Barnsley wins. Dan, as ever, it's been a great chatting to you, mate. I know you're busy and you've fitted in for videos, so do appreciate that.
No problem. It's a pleasure.
Again, in comment section, let us know your thoughts about the Aidan Maher situation, with players going out on loan, the formation, the players, the performance, a mixture of everything. Leave your comments below what you all think about the Portsmouth game, Northampton game. But as always, safe travel, safe journey. Get back safely. Get back to well with 3 points and make it even better for a weekend. But Dan, appreciate having you on, mate. One thing left to say, you Reds.